Roush, and I'm inviting you to join me on my Natural Solutions Natural Health podcast. My guests who visit me will enlighten and inspire you about many different approaches to natural wellness. I believe the stories and information my guests share about their journey and commitment to natural health will be so encouraging for you. My podcast is Riding on the Wave of the Future, and we will take you there with wonderful information. Come and ride the wave of natural health. We are ready to go, so let's get to it. Welcome to my January Natural Solutions Natural Health podcast. And I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and wishing you a happy new year. And today I am so excited to welcome DiAnna Wallace. She's a naturopath and she's also an author. So let's get to it. We have known each other for a long time, DiAnna, and we met at a Nature Sunshine conference and there were several hundred people there. So do you remember how that all came together?
Oh, of course. It was the first time I attended a Nature Sunshine conference in person. And I remember walking into a large room full of people and I knew no one. And so I just happened to glance over and notice you and some people that were with you just sitting there, and y'all made eye contact and you were friendly and you just welcomed me to join you. And the next thing you know, it just felt like we'd known each other forever.
And it feels like that, and I am so glad. And I don't know, it just worked out that there was that empty seat right there beside me. So you were meant to be there with us, I guess.
Well, thank you. And you've been saving seats for me ever since. Yep. I appreciate it.
We have, haven't we? So do you want to tell everyone listening a little bit about yourself and how you decided to become a naturopath, and also the difference between a naturopath and a traditional doctor?
Sure, of course. So I'm DiAnna Wallace Clark. I recently got remarried after being widowed almost 3 years ago. And so I have a new last name to tag on the end of my name. And so that's been exciting. That marriage has resulted in my moving from Arkansas to Indiana. But I became a naturopath about 14 years ago. And the way that happened was when I was in my early 30s, so now that's been like 20 years ago, I had a health crisis. And I was not able literally physically to stand up for hours at a time every single day. I would physically collapse. And it's complicated, what was going on. But of course, I went to my medical doctor. They weren't able to identify anything that was, wrong. They did a bunch of tests. Everything was within normal limits. Ended up being referred to several doctors. And at the end of about 3 months, they told me there was nothing wrong with me, that it must all be in my head. And I thought, it's not in my head, it's in my body that collapses every day for 6 hours.
That exact same thing happened to me. That same thing. And there was nothing wrong with me, but I knew that there was.
Right. There's something wasn't right, though. And so it turned out through a series of events, I had an opportunity to visit with a naturopath in another state just by phone. And so we visited on the phone, and after about 10 minutes, he was able to identify what the issue was, and he made some simple suggestions for how to resolve it. I was really skeptical because I'd never even heard of a naturopath before. But I was also really desperate because I didn't have any other options. So I ordered the products that he recommended and started taking them. And on day 10, I didn't collapse. And day 11, I didn't collapse. And it hasn't happened since. But for me, that was adrenal exhaustion. I've been through a series of events and a season of life that was very stressful, and I had not taken good care of myself, and my body basically was shutting itself down so that I could heal. So I thought, wow, how powerful. That man was able to help me by phone. I would love to be able to help people that way. So several years later, I went back to school to become a naturopath. I studied with Trinity School of Natural Health in Warsaw, Indiana, which is now just about 20 minutes away from where I live. And so I have been practicing, as I said, for about 14 years. And the biggest differences between a naturopath and a medical doctor are these. One, a medical doctor is trained to listen to your symptoms and to follow a protocol to resolve your symptoms. A naturopath is trained to understand how your body works and to identify areas where there are weaknesses, deficiencies that are preventing your body from operating like God intended for it to. And so naturopaths are more holistic. We look at the whole person. We're more likely to ask you about stress in your life or other factors that could be affecting your health. Typically, when you visit with a naturopath, you'll have more time in that appointment than you would with a medical doctor. We don't diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure anything. We just work with your body's natural design to help you return to natural, to natural, but also to optimal health.
Well, do you know that you inspired me to go and study to be a naturopath, and I'm in the process of that right now.
I love that.
Yeah,
Bless the Lord. I love that, Carmela.
It's so exciting, and I can't wait. I've probably got another year and a half, 2 years to complete, but I'm very excited about that. So in your practice, I know that you love everything, but what is one of the things that really it stands out to you that you just have a passion for?
That's such a great question. It is impossible to narrow it down to one thing. There are a few things that I do that I absolutely love. Everything I do, I love. What a gift to be able to spend our lives helping other people, and that's your life. And we love what we do. I'm just so thankful for this opportunity. But one of the things I love in my practice is working with women who have not been able to conceive or get pregnant for over a year. And so if they have been trying for over a year unsuccessfully and either have not been able to conceive or have not been able to carry their pregnancy, that is something that is so rewarding to me. In fact, I just had one of the women that I worked with about this time last year. We started working together, and in the spring, she found out she was pregnant, and just last week, she had her baby boy.
Oh, that's exciting. And I know that you use Nature Sunshine products. Can you tell our listeners why you decided to use that particular line of product?
Of course. And this is so interesting. So whenever I said I talked to that naturopath on the phone all those years ago, he was a Nature Sunshine distributor. And the products he recommended for me were Nature Sunshine. And I hadn't heard of the company before. I hadn't heard of his profession before. But those products gave me the results that I needed. And I thought, if he trusts that company, there might be something good to it. Fast forward a few years, I became a practitioner, and my first office was in a health food store. And so I had an opportunity to work with a lot of different brands. But time and again, I discovered that the Nature Sunshine products seem to have more potency. And so when I recommended a supplement for someone, they didn't need as much of a Nature Sunshine product as they needed of a different brand. And then I learned more about the product, more about the company, and their commitment to purity, to make sure that what's in the bottle that you buy is exactly and only what you're buying. You're not getting some kinds of fillers or even a totally different herb than what you were expecting to get when you purchase it. So I trust them. I love their purity, their potency, and also they have great customer service. But the best thing about Nature Sunshine, I think, Carmela, is the relationships.
It is.
Like you.
And you know what?
And getting to meet people.
We have traveled a lot to different places, and we spent time together. But I did not know how close your story was about your health crisis like mine. Now, I had the same situation, except I was diagnosed not knowing at the time I had fibromyalgia, but years down the road after visiting doctors and finding out that that's what he thought that I had. And I was referred to a lady who lives an hour and a half away from here who got me started using Nature Sunshine products. And the same thing happened. 3 months later, I started to feel like myself. And that's like you. I realized there's something to this. And at the time, I didn't know that we could have a retail store with Nature Sunshine. And so when I found that out, I decided to add that to my salon spa. And so for the last 28 years, 29 years, we have had Nature Sunshine as a part of our product line. So I did not know all that about you, DiAnna. I did not. So do you also use the Nature Sunshine essential oils?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, right before I got on here today, I had a couple that I slathered myself with. One is called Core Blend. And I like to use Core when I can tell I'm like all up in my head. I'm thinking too much. I need to just settle my thinker down and just be in the moment. And so I love Core Blend for that, or when I'm really needing to focus. And then also I love the Inspire Uplifting Blend that I use first thing every morning when I wake up. Some people wake up differently than others, and I need a little help, and I'm not a coffee drinker. So I just put some Inspire on my wrists and smell it in. And, within 3 seconds, those essential oils are interacting with my brain, and I start feeling more alert and ready to face the day.
Well, I just put together an educational class. I have a class that I do on my private website for people interested, or on Facebook, I'm sorry. And it's funny that I talked about essential oils, and I don't think people realize how powerful they are to heal. They are so powerful. And it's funny that you brought up Core, because I was having some back issues, and I vaguely remembered at a conference that they said to use Core on the spine. And so I took it to my massage therapist, and I had her do that. And she was totally amazed at how easy, when she went down my spine after applying that she got my, especially my neck, it cracked. And she said, I can't believe that, how easy that happened. So I don't know what the relevance was there between the two. But anyway, it was interesting that you happened to pick that product. And like you, before I came, I carry a bottle in my car that has several relaxing essential oils, because believe it or not, before I do one of these podcasts, as Josh knows, I get kind of wound up about it. But I always spray that into the vent so that it blows out into my whole car, and I breathe it. So that's really exciting that for me, that you happen to have a couple of my favorites too. So
I'm pretty sure we could go on for a long time about some of our favorite oils. Those are two that I literally use absolutely every single day. When I travel, they travel with me, and I love them. But there are many. I was thinking, Carmela, one that I don't use so much these days, but I recommend a lot because I work with women who have hormone issues, women's hormone health, digestive health. Those are my two primary specialties. But women who are having cramping, muscle tension, things of that nature, they love applying clary sage essential oil with a carrier oil over their abdomen clockwise, and over the abdomen or the back, depending on where the muscle tension is. And clary sage has become a very, very dear friend to many women, women who have those headaches about once a month. Applying clary sage to the back of the neck a lot of times gives them the relaxation that they desire. And so that's when in this season of life, I probably don't use clary sage as much as I did a few years ago. But I can't not talk about that one. It's got a big following.
I'm glad that you brought up about adding the carrier oil, because a lot of people do not realize how important it is to know how to use essential oils and how to apply them. And it's really good if they would talk with someone who has the experience with them, and they would be able to, in their medicine cabinet, put together just a few that, like us, that are our favorites, that work for what we need them to work for.
For sure. I agree. Anything with natural health, you can go out on Google and you can learn all kinds of information. If you go to the health food store, you're going to see ads and promotions for all kinds of things. And there are a bunch of wonderful things in natural health. But the perk to working with a practitioner like you or like me is that we have extra training in how their body is supposed to work, and we can help them prioritize which supplements are going to help them get to their goal quicker than if they're just kind of taking a shotgun approach to their health or their supplementation. When you work with someone like you or with me, or someone like me, it's more of a laser approach. And I feel like that is something that a lot of people don't realize. Yes, you can self-educate, and we want to help educate you. But at the end of the day, when you have a health crisis like you had and like I had, there is a lot of benefit to working with someone who really can help you dial in and get the results you want quicker than if you try to muddle through and figure it out on your own.
Well, I don't know about you, but if I'm in a drugstore or even happen to go into a Walmart store and see people in those aisles, I want to go over and help them. Like, do you need some help? I don't, but I'd like to go over and help them make a choice, what would be a good choice. But in light of that, can you share, without mentioning any names, a few clients that you've helped and some stories about what's happened?
Sure, of course. Thank you. Earlier, I mentioned the young woman who had been trying to get pregnant for over a year and just had her baby last week. And that is I have women that I worked with like 10 years ago, and I love scrolling through Facebook, seeing these children growing up that I was able to work with their moms and their dads, because it takes two, to be able to work with them, to be able to conceive and to carry their babies. And so that's a success story. There are many, they're very similar. It's usually a few months of disappointment after we start working together. I let them know, don't expect anything for 90 days, just relax and enjoy life. If anything happens, that's great. But let's get your body balanced. Let's get your body in an optimal condition. And why 90 days? Because every 90 days you get all new blood cells. So in natural health, we work with that 90-day cycle as a natural healing cycle. But another area that I work in that really makes me unique in our field is life transformation. And that kind of sounds big, but you mentioned earlier, I'm an author. I wrote the book, Healthy Body, 12 Principles for Peace, Health, and Crazy Joy. The book is available on Amazon. And with the book, I also offer a 6-month incubator. So it's like an online group of women who really are ready to let go of the pain from their past. And I'm talking about emotional pain. Sometimes I'm talking about physical pain. And so I've just wrapped up the first 6-month program with the clients that are going through the Peace, Health, and Joy incubator. And the transformation that these women are reporting is very exciting to me. I don't know, who's watching here today. So if you're watching this today, there's a really good chance that you've gotten your feelings hurt at some point before. Someone has said something hurtful to you. If you're on Facebook or social media right now, you may find that you feel offended easily. And the more quickly we feel offended, it can suggest that there's like hurts from our past that are already built up. So it doesn't take much to get us to our boiling point. And the sad thing is that's more than just feelings. Those feelings can affect our health, our physical health. And so the 6-month Peace, Health, Joy incubator digs into a process where we give forgiveness to other people. We even forgive ourselves. We address diet. We do supplementation if we need to. We deal with things like fears and things like that. But the transformation these women have gotten over the last 6 months, they talk about things that used to would have triggered them. And one woman told about at Thanksgiving, her husband accidentally tipped over a 2-liter bottle of soda.
Oh, Lord.
And it just started. Now, why they had soda at Thanksgiving, I don't know. It was her husband. It wasn't her. But anyway, the bottle tipped over and it started glugging out. And she said, in the past, she would have just been angry and she would have, started hollering and why aren't you thinking and all this stuff. But instead, she reported that she was like, hey, let's get a towel. Let's get the bottle set up. Let's get a towel. And she said, it didn't trigger that anger response that I've had in the past.
Well, it sounds like that really guides people how to work through these issues and understand where the anger is coming from. Do you happen to have a health issue that you really feel that a lot of people are facing today?
Oh, my goodness. That's a great question. Wow. Okay. So as a naturopath, and as you know, and as you're training, but you've been doing this for 28 years, you know this, our physical health and our emotional and mental health are very closely related, especially as it relates to gut health. And right now, here we are basically in the middle of a global pandemic. Everyone's lives are disrupted, and people who have struggled with mental health issues before are finding that those issues are escalated. People who have never struggled with mental health and emotional health issues before are experiencing them for the first time. And the mental emotional health is very closely linked to gut health.
I wonder if a lot of people realize that, DiAnna, that how closely related that connection with that vagus nerve between the brain and the gut, and in reverse, the gut to the brain.
Yes, a very essential feedback loop. And I remember that you have done some special teaching on that. You've done some training on that. And the gut as your second brain. I remember at your symposium several years ago that you spoke on that. And there is something to that. And in my opinion, that is actually the biggest issue in our world right now, not just for people, in the United States. It's a global issue. And it's also something that there's hope. There's still hope for things, to be better, because you can do pretty simple things to support your gut, and that affects your mood. And then your mood affects your gut. And it's a nice little feedback loop, like you said, with that vagus nerve.
One of the simplest things that you and I know is probiotics, to help feed the gut what it needs. But people don't understand what has been contributing to this besides, the environment, but the foods that people are eating are not nourishing like they used to be. There's chemicals,
Absolutely.
There's preservatives. Those things upset the gut, and medications upset the gut. So just that simple taking of a probiotic can solve a lot of issues.
It can really help support your body to get, your gut back into good balance. And you're right. It's simple. It's simple if you know about it. And it's simple if you have someone who can help you determine which probiotic is best for me. You go to the health food store and there are a whole bunch of them and they look like they have a whole bunch of good things. And so you and I know about a formula called Probiotic 11 that has 11 different strains of bacteria that are helpful for balancing your gut. And I love Probiotic 11 for someone who's just getting started with probiotics, because it does reintroduce 11 strains that probably have been in their gut before, but through either antibiotics or stress or weird food choices or whatever, they don't have that same balance anymore. And I love that product.
At our retail store, we do keep track of sales. And when I print out a report at the end of the year, the number 2 product that we sell, and that's no pun intended there, the number 2 product that we sell is probiotics, because once they use them, they get the results, they never stop taking them. It improves their health and their emotions that quickly. So that's an amazing thing that we know about probiotics.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
And empowering. How empowering is that? Probiotic 11 is a great formula for starters and for helping someone get started. If it's someone that travels a lot, I seem to travel a lot. Bacillus coagulans is a great formula that's shelf stable. I don't have to keep that in the refrigerator when I travel, but I can still have the help of a good probiotic, when I'm out and about.
And that's a good point.
I like to alternate those two.
That right there is a good point, that if you're working with someone who knows the products, they can help you. How would they know that product? The name alone you can hardly pronounce. So, without having someone to help guide you, and that's what we do, and that's what makes us happy. I wanted to tell you, DiAnna, that I'm going to post all of your information and contact information on my website so that people who would like to get a hold of you, they'll know how to do that. And,
Super.
Is there anything else before we close that you would like to share? Anything with our listeners?
Thank you. Well, maybe a couple things. First of all, a great way, and really probably the best way to connect with me right now, is on Facebook. I have a private group that you can go to and request to join called the Healthy Body Book Club. The Healthy Body Book Club. That's the name of it. You just type it in the search bar, and whenever you're directed to it, it asks you 3 simple questions, and then I get to review your answers and let you into the group. In there, every single week, with rare exception, I post a live video talking about a variety of topics related to our health, whether it's emotional health, mental health, physical health, or even spiritual health. And so I would just like to invite you, the listener, the watcher, into the Healthy Body Book Club on Facebook so that we can connect there. I'm live every single week. And what that means is if you have a question, you can just type it in the comments while I'm live, and I can answer questions every single week live. So I would like to invite anyone who's watching or listening to check me out, connect with me there. I think that would be fabulous. But also, if you are struggling, if you're listening to this, if you've been watching this today and you're thinking, you know what, I know a lot or I don't know much at all, and you are looking for someone to partner with, I can endorse and recommend Carmela widely, warmly, easily. Carmela, she oozes the stuff out of her ears. She's been at this for 28, 29 years, and I'm still like a newbie. I've been at it for less than 20 years. And so we're both still learning. We're both always learning, but we are honored to share anything we've learned with someone that can help you get your life back. That's what happened for both of us. I'm telling you, when you collapse for 6 hours a day, you might be alive, but you are not living.
Exactly.
And I did not feel like I was living when I was in my early 30s. And no matter what your situation is right now, it is always too early to give up, and there is always hope. It's too early to give up, and there's always hope. And I would just encourage you to connect with Carmela if you live in her area. If you live somewhere else far away or wherever, please connect with me. Or if you whatever, I would love to connect with you. And it's my honor to help in any way.
Well, I know from listening to your classes, Healthy Body, that just your face and your happy face really lifts you up. I told you that a while back, that I wish I could be like that all the time. But we're going to close for today, and I really thank you for coming and being on my podcast. I love you, and I want to tell our listeners that our next guest is going to be Lisa Keller. She's a physical therapist, and she's also an author, and I think you met her when we had our conference. So with that, we're going to say thank you for listening to our podcast today, Natural Solutions, Natural Health, and we will see you in February with Lisa Keller. Bye-bye. Have a great day.